Hey everybody, how you doing? This is Rob Rivera with Who's On First the Show, and today I'm in Virginia, going to the Chili Peppers game, and I meet this gentleman here. What's his name?
Kip Coughlan.
Kip Coughlan. And you just see, I saw the jersey. I said, "Wow, what a great jersey! You look nice and everything." And then we start talking. This to show you the small world. Talk to us about some of the stuff that you used to do. So you used to play for who? Who did you play for?
I was signed with St. Louis. I signed with them in '73 and played in the Western Carolina League. Got moved up to the Florida State League. We won the pennant, and I wear my ring all the time.
Wear the ring? Oh,
yeah, it's a bunch of us that it's a rare few that have it.
Okay.
Larry Herndon, Jerry Mumphrey, John Tamargo. I mean, it's a bunch of guys that I remember. Had some pictures that were Mike Proley. Just a great group of guys.
Right.
That's why we won, because everybody loved everybody, and we all loved to play the game.
Okay. I mean, so what do you see like the way the game is being played today versus the way you played it? What's the big difference?
Well, I don't see it as aggressive on the base pass. You got guys that got blazing speed. Well, we had guys with speed, but it wasn't as prevalent as it is today. I mean, everybody can run.
Right.
We had the guys that were fast that played up the middle, short, second, center field. And us heavy, chubby guys, we played the corners and we played left field, center field.
Right.
So, but that's kind of how the scheme went back then.
Okay. All right. I mean, so now you played. Who did you play? Give me see. I know you said something about playing in an All-Star game. Who did you?
I was elected to the All-Star game, but I got moved up the week before. This was in the Western Carolina League. And Mike Hargrove was the All-Star first baseman. Willie Randolph was the All-Star second baseman. I was the All-Star third baseman. Now, who they replaced me with, that I got moved up the week before, and they never sent me anything other than that I had made the All-Star team. And Mike Selinsky was the center fielder, All-Star center fielder. Tom Underwood was the All-Star left-handed pitcher. So it was that was a good solid league back in that day. In West Carolina League, it was a good medium A ball.
Right.
And I had signed out of high school, so I went straight from high school to A ball.
Okay.
I didn't play rookie league at all.
All right. I mean, so now I know you said something about that you were trying to do Major League Baseball instead of going into the draft. But you went to the draft and you were trying to.
Well, what hurt me a little bit was that my military draft. My draft number was 38. Back in those days, they drew your birthday, whatever your birthday was, and if they drew your number and it was in the top 100, you were gone for 2 years.
Oh wow!
So you had no choice. So that hurt me in the draft, because who wants to draft you and not have your service to you? Plus, you could blow a finger off.
Right.
So then I sign you, pay you a little bit of money, and you go from there. So that kind of hurt. Then I went ahead and was fortunate enough to be able to get in the Guard, National Guard.
Okay.
Because they changed the law July 1st. I was supposed to leave for active duty July 3rd, so I extended me 15 days, so I was able to get into a Guard unit. And then in the January draft, I was drafted 30th pick overall by Cardinals, and I was actually in boot camp, and I said, well, hell, if I'm ever going to play, I reckon I better sign that. So this was at the end of our training. They let me fly home for the weekend, which is rare.
Right.
And I signed. I said, well, if I'm going to play, I need to sign now. Went back, finished my boot camp, and then went to spring training with the Cardinals. So that's kind of how that worked.
What year did you go in with the Cardinals?
73.
73.
73.
Okay. What was the lineup there when you went? And then who's the guys? Who's the who's of the Cardinals now?
Well, a couple of these guys made it up with the Cardinals, but ended up going with the Detroit organization. So it was Larry Herndon, Jerry Mumphrey, John Tamargo, pitchers, Mike Proley. There's a couple other guys, but since you just hit me right off of the bat, I don't talk about it too much. So those names, I'm fortunate I come up with them. But those guys I looked at, and I think about them all the time. Even though I'm an old goat guy.
Old goat.
Yeah. So. But I wish I could run into him somewhere along the line. As a matter of fact, I did run into Larry. They had an exhibition game when he was with the Tigers. He was coaching. Okay. And he gave me his hat and gave me his phone number and said, "You ever in Detroit, give me a call, man." So. Okay. Yeah, it was a pretty special group we had there.
Yeah, I mean when you start playing with these guys and you you share the locker room and stuff. You travel with them. I mean, you become friends and stuff.
You do, and there's a lot of bus rides back
A lot of bus rides.
Yeah, we on the bus playing cards. So
Yeah.
you get there about 2 hours before the bus leaves, so you can get a seat to play cards.
Okay. Any crazy stories, guys playing cards and stuff like that?
No.
You guys are pretty tame, pretty chill.
Yeah, pretty much. You know, and the stories we have can't tell.
Oh, those are those quiet stories,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you only tell the other guy there when you're over a little drink somewhere.
Yeah, I got a nickname in there when I was in Fort Lauderdale, Kip the Case.
Okay.
And it wasn't because I could drink a case of beer, so that's what I thought it was. But no, they told me no, that's not why.
That's not what it is.
Yeah, so-
All right. So I mean, you went to spring training and all that
Went
stuff.
to spring training, broke camp, went to Western Carolina League, and then just before the All-Star break, they moved me up to the Florida State League, and they were fighting for a division title. And this is really awesome. At the end of the year, we're 4 games out, with 4 games to play, and 3 of them were with the Tigers were in first place,
Right.
and 3 of the games were at Al Lopez Field in Lakeland. So we played the first 3 games, we win. So now it comes down, whoever wins this last game is the league champion.
That's it, right?
10 innings, we're tied. 2-2. We end up winning in extra innings.
Wow.
And then we had to go the next. We took the bus back. We stopped and got drinks, and the bus was saturated. The seats were saturated. And the next morning, we had to go to Miami. Dennis Martinez was playing for them.
Oh, wow.
Okay, and so we go the next morning. We get about 3 hours sleep. Got to go get on the bus. Figure we'll sleep all the way to Miami. They give us the same bus. Roy Matika was the coach. I don't know if you remember Roy Matika, but he was raising hell mad. You give us the same damn bus, you know. He went berserk, but there's not much we did about it. We went down there and we swept Miami, and then came back and played. Who did we play in the final? West Palm Beach, and we ended up going undefeated the rest of the way. So,
Right.
that's it. And we all got rings and.
So is that like your fondest memory?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, the guys are, this is something you can look at and you have material-wise, but the guys, you just have such a great relationship with those guys, and there's something that you wish you were close all the time. I got a buddy of mine that's Eddie Daves. He was a catcher. He played 8 or 9 years, and he lives in Oklahoma, and we talk often. And he comes up every 2 or 3 years and stays at the house. And I've been out there and stayed for a month at his place in Oklahoma. So, but we're getting old now to travel. For us, he was a catcher, and you figured his knees would be bad, but it's his back.
It's his back.
He's had a couple back operations, and he just has been struggling a little bit with that. But he's a stud, so he'll be fine.
All right. So you played from what year?
73 to 75. Now,
Okay.
halfway during the season. In 74, I tore my thumb in spring training, and I was with a big club then. And actually, I take pride in that Ted Simmons, the one that threw the ball to second base, I was playing shortstop, and the guy slid in and tore my thumb up. So halfway during the season, they released me, and Detroit was in first place by about, Lakeland was in first place by about 8 games, and they picked me up, paid me the same salary, and I ended up hitting about 300 with them playing every day because they had signed Joe Elan. St. Louis had signed Joe Elan, the #1 draft pick. He got a ton of money. So if he played on the same team, so they started moving me to short, to second, to first because he played third.
Right.
I never agreed with that, but Joe was an okay guy, but we're fighting for a position,
Yeah, you're fighting for a job, right?
Yeah. So,
those days where it was fighting for a job. I mean, so what do you think of these big contracts now? These $500 million, $760 million.
At first, I said, well, if the owners couldn't afford it, they wouldn't be paying it, right?
Right.
They got all this TV money and all now.
Right.
But now the contracts are getting so outrageous. It's just a family of 4 just can't afford to go to the ballpark anymore.
Yeah.
And I mean, in a hot dog, a damn beer, I heard is like $15, $14 or something. I mean, we're not in the upper echelon financially, most people. So.
Yeah, go to Yankee Stadium. You buy a hot dog, it's $15. You got to finance the bunt.
Well, my dentist told me that he had Yankee tickets, but he went ahead and bought twice as many tickets as the Mets. So he bought 4 season tickets for the Mets. It cost the same thing 2 of the Yankees did. So.
And then you get to watch the Yankees when they go see the Mets.
Yeah, you get to watch them right. They got great seats, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So so what did you do after baseball?
After baseball, I got a job making $1.85 an hour at a place called J.M. Toll. It was a steel company. We delivered steel throughout the city of Richmond.
Right.
I'm in Richmond, Virginia, obviously. And I did that and then just kept moving up, jobs and anything that paid more money, and I never had to apply for a job because I had so much exposure on the truck, driving track trailer and dealing with people, and people would see me and say, hey, look, I want you to come to work for me. I said, what does it pay? And if it paid more money, I said, I'm interested.
There you go.
So that happened to me all the way through my whole career. So, I'm a good people person.
Okay.
And they seen that. I didn't know it at the time. I just was always nice and polite. And, so it worked out, and things happen for a reason.
Yeah. I mean, any big stars you tagged out at third base or got one of those nice little grounders and gunned them down?
When I was with the Cardinals, I played with, Lou Brock, Bob Gibson, Ted Simmons, and Rich Folkers. I don't think, who was some of the guys? It was just everybody who was on the big club was basically there. They invited the people that were promising in the organization. I think it probably 15 of us or something,
right,
for winter ball, and they see how you perform against big league pitching and all that stuff. And that's when I tore my thumb out.
Okay.
So I played with Ron LaFleur. I played with Ron LaFleur. You remember him?
It sounds familiar. I remember the name.
Played with Ron LaFleur, Phil Minkowski, Mark Friedrich, the Bird.
Right.
It's a bunch of them. Just to sit here and just think of them off the cuff.
Yeah. Who was some of the pitchers that you faced as a batter? I mean,
Dennis Martinez. I went 2-3 off him when we played Miami in the playoffs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I went 2 for 3. He pitched 3 hit against us. So I went 2-3 off.
Wow. 2 for 3. That's a Hall of Famer guy.
And Tom Underwood. For the Phillies, I think they had me on a radio show there back when I was playing it, and I think I was hitting something like 450 against Philly pitching. So Tom always thinks, it's a bunch of guys. I just, over the years it kind of fades out because you don't talk about it much.
Right.
If people know you have played and they ask you questions, but you don't get into details like we're doing here.
Yeah.
And then I went to AA with Detroit.
Okay.
Played Montgomery, Alabama.
Okay.
And I was there about 2 months. I was about 15 days from getting my AA bonus.
Oh, okay.
And they sent me back to Lakeland.
Oh man.
So I said, well, hell, I didn't play in that league 2 years. I ain't got nothing to prove there. So I started swinging from my butt. I said, maybe they want me to try to hit the park, out of the park more. There's some big parks in the Florida State League.
Right.
I mean, I went 0 for 4 one night and didn't hit a ball under 415 feet. Dead center.
Right.
You could have drawn a circle around on the warning track. And I crushed it, man. 418, 417,
Right.
Instead of 4 for 4, which back in would have been in sport news, I was 0 for 4. So, it makes it, take those 4 hits, look what that do for your average at the end of the year.
Right.
So,
So now you see these guys, they got these torpedo bats and they got all these sliding oven mitts and all these special cleats and colors, and you got, now to wearing sparkles and stuff like that. I mean, what do you think of all this new stuff?
I think the big thing, and I would have loved to be part of that, is the weight of the bats. You can take back then when I played, if you swung a 35-ounce bat, if you got less than 34 ounces, wood would break. It just wasn't a good bat.
Right.
Example, we're playing Gastonia. I hit a home run, and I had ordered some bats like 1.5 ounces lighter than the length.
Right.
And I took them on that road trip. I hit a home run. I come up next time. I fouled a pitch off. I said, that sounds like it's broke. I tapped it. Trademark busted out of it.
Oh wow.
Hit the ball 400 feet, and then it breaks the bat. So I took 3 bats on that road trip and broke all 3 of them in 2 games.
Wow.
So, but now you can take a 35 length and you can make it a 31-ounce bat. I mean, that's a hell of a difference. And I try to get people to to visualize playing wiffle ball in your backyard. You know,
Right.
you can wait till the last second,
Right.
and pop
And really
that
pop
thing.
it, yeah.
Yeah, well, no, when that bat's a little bit heavy, you gotta get going just a tad earlier, and it's a big difference being able to wait till that last second. Throw that big curveball with your wiffle ball, and you still can hit it.
Yeah.
Now you're getting that pitch from a big league pitcher. You know,
Yeah.
you know, so you got to be pretty quick to pop that thing. These kids are strong. They're bigger. I mean, you look at these pitchers, 6'7", 6'8". I watch them on the mound, and the damn hand wraps all the way around the ball.
Yeah,
I mean, you know, so it's a big difference. The game has changed just like football.
Right.
I mean, you go down on the field, there's no small kids down there, man. They're mooses. They are. I mean, you don't know unless you go down there and stand them. Good gosh.
Yeah.
So you get hit by one of them guys, 325 pounds, you know, you're going to know it.
Right. So you still watch the game today?
Oh, yeah, I watch Cardinals every night.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I mean, who's a guy out there that's impressed you, like a batter, a pitcher?
Donovan's a big guy, man. When he first came up, I said, that kid's going to be good.
Yeah.
He is tough.
What was his first name?
Which Donovan?
Is he playing for St. Louis?
Yeah, he played second base last night.
Okay. You think Donovan?
He can play everywhere. I mean, he played third base, he plays second base, he can play outfield. He's versatile, and he's a left-handed hitter. Mm-hmm. And I watch his when he's playing that bat. I'd like to know what ounce his bat is, because these guys are getting through that thing.
Them ounces make a difference, huh?
And we were pretty strong back in too, but these
Right.
guys, you know, they didn't even want us lifting weights back in.
Right.
We lift weights, they find you $200. Play golf, find you $200.
Really?
Yeah, you couldn't do any of that stuff
Wow.
during the season, so they thought it messed with your swing.
Right. Okay.
So it's a whole different ball game today. They can play golf in the morning and be on the field in the afternoon.
Yeah. What do you think of the Yankees having beards and mustaches and all that stuff now?
You know, old tradition, man. I tell you, the tradition goes away. It's tough when you've been there. I mean, the Cardinals, we had to have our sideburns had to be the middle of the ear.
Right.
I think Ted Simmons was the only one that was allowed to have long hair. You know, I said, how come he gets by with that? Nobody else, because it was Ted Simmons, right?
Yeah, Ted Simmons, all right.
And that's why I went with Detroit. One of the reasons, because they had no restrictions on facial hair, so I grew a Fu Manchu when I went over there.
Right.
And my hair got a little bit longer, not like they do today. It was just a little bit longer.
Right.
And it's just a whole new thing. They got Messon, Wynn plays shortstop for us.
Mm-hmm.
Got dang on earrings hanging down off his ear. I said, "Come on, man! I'm old school, right? And it just bothers me.
Yeah.
Because you let a glove, somebody put a tag on that glove, hit you and rips that ear. He ain't got nothing there. He gonna wish he'd left him in the locker room.
Okay. So what was your favorite stadium to play at?
Oh,
Where, give me a favorite town that you used to love to go to. Or
Fort Lauderdale.
Fort Lauderdale?
Oh yeah, it was a lot to do.
A lot to do?
I got fined a few times.
A lot of trouble?
Fort
A
Lauderdale.
lot of trouble out there?
Well, yeah, and we had to get back. We had no cars, so we had to get cars. And I'll tell you one story I can tell you is after a ball game, we were on a losing streak. We were with Detroit, and we're down in the bar, and our place stayed at the Shraffs.
Right.
And so they had a little outside bar, and we'd go down there and have a few drinks down there. We're playing miserable, blah blah. Well, the girl behind the bar that was working the bar says, "What are y'all doing tonight?" And I said, "Well, we got to be in by about 1, I think it was." She said, "Well, I'm going to the 3 o'clock club." So, well, where's that at? She said, "Well, it's down there. When I get off, that's where I'm going. Y'all want to go?" I said, and 3 or 4 would say, "Oh yeah, we'll go."
Yeah, why not?
So we went. We get back about 5 in the morning, and my roommate said, Stubby Overmeyer was my coach. He said, "Stubby, check the room." I said, "No, I played with him last year. He never checked rooms." So I said, "Well, okay, that's a rare thing." So I go in the locker room, and he says, "Kip, did you have $50 worth of fun last night?" I wasn't the only one he said it to. I said, "Yes, sir," and I did. So the next night, I said, "Well, he's not going to check 2 nights in a row, so we go again." Kip, he checked rooms again. I said, "You kidding me?" Go in the locker room and we get dressed. "You have $100 worth of fun last night?" "Yes, sir, Stubby." "Well, you better pay attention to what you're doing." "Yes, sir." And he did that 3 or 4 of us would win. Then the next night, the guy got sent down from Double A ball. It was a left-handed pitcher. I can't remember his name right off the bat, but he had a van, and he was going to pitch the next night. So he let us take his van. So we took his van and went out. So we come back. Kip, Stubby checked rooms. I said, "No way. I played with him all last year. He never checked rooms." Now, probably because we was on a losing streak. And And we still get plenty of sleep. I mean, you know, we don't have to get up till 3 in the afternoon. So, yeah, I go to the locker room. He said, Kip, do you have $200 worth of fun last night? I said, no, sir. He said, well, I'll tell you what, if you go out tonight, it's going to cost you $400. If something's out there worth $400, come get me, I'll go with you. So that was my Fort Lauderdale story.
That was a Fort Lauderdale story.
Yeah, that's one. I had some more. But
Yeah. We're not going to give it all out.
We don't want to expose all that. Right?
All right. Well, listen, thank you.
But the guys will remember that. Anybody that might hear this, they'll remember some of that.
They might remember some of this stuff.
Yeah,
what advice would you give somebody trying to get into the major leagues today? Young kid, 15 years
Work
old.
hard.
Work hard.
Don't look for somebody to give you anything. Learn multiple positions. So that's what I see. Everybody that's come up today can play more than one position.
Right.
And I could too, but back then they kind of centered you where they thought you were going to be. You know?
Right.
So that's what I would say. Learn all the positions, learn the do's and don'ts at them, and it's why the Cardinals organization was so great, because they would take after practice, they would take them, like go to first base and they'd work all footwork and all around first base. I always stayed after to learn, so when I got out of the ball, I could teach the kids in my area in Holland Springs, Virginia. I could teach that. And then the next day they'd work around second base. Had to cross the bag, all the moves, then the shortstop and third base. That's why I said that I'm a big Cardinal guy.
Yeah, oh look at that.
Yeah, big Cardinal guy. It's because they taught you, and the Tiger organization at the time was that if we signed you, you're supposed to know what to do, which we did. I had great coaches, you know, in high school. I had great coaches, so I knew a lot, but I didn't know a lot. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I was ahead of the curve with some of these guys, but I wasn't. You know, when I spent a half hour with Lou Brock out on the running field, man, that was an education.
How fast was Lou Brock, huh?
Oh yeah, right. And then he would work like a left-hand pitcher, and he said, "What would you rather steal off, right-hander or left-hander?" I said, "Well, right-hander." He said, "No, left-hander." He said, "Because you see everything." And then he talked about the back foot, how you don't put the weight on the back foot. Mm-hmm. He knows he's going to come over the first. I mean, those are things that you know, high school coaches just don't have time to teach you.
Right.
Work on. But I had one of the greatest high school coaches, Bob Brawley, that anybody could ever have. I was just so fortunate during my little league career, Babe Ruth career, and high school that I had great coaches that really knew baseball.
Right.
I was very fortunate, so that's why my opportunity was a lot because of what they did.
Okay.
So, but anyway.
Amazing stuff. All right, guys. Well, we're checking it out. We're talking some old good stuff, and as we say here on Who's On First, keep swinging.
If you like the show, please do me a favor. Subscribe. Right. You see it? It's right there. Subscribe, share, like, and don't forget, put that bell on. It'll ding you when I put something else on, all right?